Missouri Star Live. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here with us. As always, let's see who we've got tuning in. And as a reminder, we've got Liz behind camera there. She'll be helping with questions.
Hi, everybody.
Yep. And Cole and Isaac are running the show here. So thank you so much to them. We really appreciate everybody. So Deborah is watching from Texas, Joyce from Michigan, Kathy from New Mexico. We really appreciate you guys spending a little bit of your day with us, and we've got a super fun project. I teased it last week, but we're gonna make these really easy vinyl storage project bags, and it's even easier than you think because we have these great zippers from June Taylor. They're called the Zippity Doo Done zippers, and it's so amazing because it has this I just went blank. These fabric openings attached and ready for you on either side, so you can just slide your fabric in there, and it makes attaching a zipper like so easy. Zippity doo done, right? So quick, and it comes in right now 6 colors. So you've got this white, tan, gray, red, black, and navy, and we do have all of these colors available on our website at Missouri Star, so be sure to check that out. So you're going to need one of these for the project today. You're also going to need some of this clear vinyl. And so it comes in a roll like this. I've got mine already opened up. And then you're going to need just under a yard of fabric for this project, and that'll give you the part that we're going to quilt, the little top flap, and your binding. So it'll have everything you need to finish this up, and it is just really easy, and I cannot wait to show you. The other thing that I do want to mention is this Quilter Select Free Fuse. This is a new to me product anyway. As I've mentioned before, I am usually a spray baster, especially on small projects, because it seems to hold well enough for me, but I hate the smell and the odor. Not a fan of that. And so I want to show you how this works because it's like a little gift to me. Like I said, it's by Quilter Select, called Free Fuse, and it is available on our website. If for some reason it's showing out of stock, they just added it, so it might take a minute to kind of show up there. So be sure and add it to your wish list, and it'll be there by the end of the day if for some reason you're not seeing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So add that to your wish list, and you can click the little heart to let to get that reminder, and we'll send you an email when it's back in stock. Exactly.
So let me show you how this works. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the back of our bag. And so this is, you know, I've straight line quilted this, and we're going to start by cutting 2 16-inch squares out of our fabric. And I've got those ready right here. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with an iron. Whoops, if I can get it to lay flat. There we go.
And what cute fabric are you using for this?
Oh yes, this is the, that's a great question. It's really cute grunge stars. I can't remember the exact color. Liz, do you remember what it's called?
I think this one is called Sunflower.
Sunflower,
that bright yellow.
Yes, that sounds right. And it's so cheerful and happy. And so we went with that. So I've just pressed this flat here, and this is right side down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Free Fuse and one of my pieces of batting that I've cut to the same size. And when you open it up, you actually will have to take this off, and there's like a little bag of this fusible powder that's inside that you pour inside, and then you have this shaker top on top. So I'm just going to sprinkle this on. Kind of looks like sugar. Don't get it near your coffee or tea. You will not be happy. So we're just going to sprinkle this on. And you can be pretty generous. Just make sure it's everywhere that you need it. And then I'm going to put my batting down. We're just going to press so that that will adhere. It does say you want to give it about 4 seconds to make sure it will get good infused. So I'm just going to take some time going over the whole thing.
And as you were sprinkling that, is a little goes a long way. You don't need to coat
exactly
it with lots and lots.
And you can see this is pretty well fused, and it's so smooth. And so now that I've got one layer attached, I can flip it over and hit it from the other side just to make sure
And does it matter if you have steam going on that iron?
I pretty much always have steam going, but let me actually read it and tell you what they recommend. It just says, apply direct heat and pressure with an iron or press, hold for at least 4 seconds.
Okay.
So it doesn't specify whether you need steam or not. So we're just going to make sure it's good and set.
And folks are asking, you can use just about any batting scraps you have for this?
Exactly. This is just a 16-inch square that we're working with here. And so now I'll show you one more time. This time I've got the batting up because I'm going to add my other piece. We're creating a quilt sandwich here. And I'm just going to sprinkle this free fuse. You have to have sound effects. That's part of the magic, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so then we can put that away. And then we're going to put this piece down.
And Geraldine, you're right. The free fuse is a lot nicer smelling than some of the sprays.
There's like no odor.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's really nice in here. We don't have to have the most awesome ventilation to use
right.
the free fuse.
Exactly. You know, I've got kids at home, so I always worry about that spray adhesive, all those fumes. Try and open a window and all that, but you know, you just worry about that. All right, so we're just gonna make sure this is nice and fused. Oh, that looks awesome. So you can see here, I've got this great quilt sandwich. I don't have any pins in my way. It's all good to go. And so now the next step is I would go ahead and quilt this. And I'm also going to quilt I'm going to cut a piece that's 5 by 16 in a rectangle and do the exact same thing. And that's what's going to give us this little front top piece. Both this piece and our backing are going to be quilted in the same method. And so I would just start by, for me, I just did straight line quilting on the diagonal, and this print is so fun because you can see these stars kind of line up on the diagonal anyway for you. So I just used that as my starting off point and drew my first line. Here, let me show you instead of just talking about it. And I just have this short ruler here right now, but I can make it work. So I've just got a chalk pencil so I know this will wash out afterward. I'm just gonna continue my line. And then I measured 2 inches for my next line, and I did this in both directions. Now, if you have a guide bar for your machine, this would be the perfect opportunity to set that to 2 inches and just let it do the measuring for you so you don't have to mark this all out. This particular machine I don't have a guide bar for, and I like this one because it's quick, so I did take the time to go ahead and mark it in both directions, and then I just straight line quilted it. This is a great opportunity if you have a walking foot to put that on, make it nice and quick for you. And so then I have this finished piece right here. You can see it's all quilted. And if you look at the edge, you'll notice that it's a little wonky. And so I had you cut it to 16, but we're actually going to trim this down to 15 inches. So it's nice and clean and square.
And Misty, that just kind of happens when you quilt, right?
Exactly.
So it just shrinks in just a little bit with all the stitching that you're adding.
Exactly. When you add all those stitches, it kind of creates just a little bit of puckering effect. And you can see how nice this held up and how even everything stayed by using that free fuse. I'm really, really happy with the results.
Did you put the free fuse all the way to the edge?
As close as I could, but let me show you here. Like you can see here, this little part is lifting, but then this corner that's closer to the batting is more adhered. And so I didn't have any trouble. I just got as close as I could, but I didn't want that powder to go off of my project onto the mat, creating a sticky mess. So I just kind of watched where I was sprinkling. That's a great question. But now we're gonna go ahead and trim up our back to 15 inches square because that's the size of this project bag. So actually I can use 2 of these. So we'll just add a little distance to my ruler, like so. Start by trimming up this side, making sure I'm all straight. Then I can move that one out of the way and finish my cut. There's that one. And then let me measure over. There we go. Do the same thing here.
And Dialonia is asking, do you have to use that powder all at once, or can it sit and do many projects? It's actually for many, many projects.
Yeah,
depending
absolutely.
on the size of your projects.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the same bottle, and I made this sample well over a month ago, and it, you know, I just put the little lid on it, and it stores on your shelf, and it's good to go.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's amazing. I am such a fan. All right, so now I've got the two sides done. I'm going to turn this and do the top and bottom.
And we're trimming this down to 15 inches square so we can make a nice quilted backing for this project bag.
Exactly.
If you're just joining us. Lori Berman says you're a ruler magician. So can you talk to us a little bit about that extra ruler you were adding to get that extra inch?
Sure. So I just want to, you know, because sometimes if our inch or our ruler is shorter than our project, and I just don't have my longer ruler right here handy, so I just am using another one here, and so I can just make sure that my ruler is straight. And I don't actually have to even use this one when I get up here to cut, but it just helps me when I'm orienting my ruler to make sure that my line is going exactly where I want it. So I'm actually going to move this out of the way now that I have this started, and I'll just slide this up looking at the mat, and I know I'm straight, and then I can just finish that cut. So that's what I was doing there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. There we go. Now we have this all trimmed up, 15 inches square, and we can set this aside. And like I said, you're going to do the exact same thing with the rectangle for the front. And so we made this one 5 by 16 to start, and we're actually going to trim it to 4 by 15. So let's go ahead and do that, just so you can see.
And while you're trimming, there's a couple questions about using the walking foot.
Sure.
So, do you have to have the walking foot for your specific machine? Or what if you're buying a walking foot, what do you need to be thinking about? Because you'll use it for lots of different things.
Yes, so generally walking foots will be by manufacturer. And so each manufacturer will have their own. Sometimes there will be different ones for different machines. So you will want to do a little bit of research to make sure you're getting the correct one that's for your, specific model.
And part of that's because machines have what's called low shank or high shank.
Yes.
And so you want to make sure you get the one that fits your machine, so
exactly.
It does the work for you and doesn't give you fits.
Thank you, Liz. Thanks for pointing that out. That's a great tip. And so here I'm going to trim this down to 4 inches. So I've got a little excess here to cut off. If you are like a wizard and you don't want to have this waste, feel free to do it exactly the right size, but I just wanted mine to be nice and clean when I go put it all together. Whoops, helps if I open my rotary cutter. There we go. All right, so now I have both of my pieces ready to rock. So now we're going to take our vinyl, and I would say this right here is the trickiest part of this whole project. And the only reason is because it just likes to rumple. And so if you have some time before you get started on this project, I recommend just sort of laying a heavy book or something. You have a tip?
I have a tip.
Oh, Liz has a tip.
We did something with vinyl, and it turned out that if you take your hairdryer and you set it to the low setting, so not the high heat, but the low setting, and just kind of blow dry
and let it
vinyl,
just,
that gentle warmth will actually help it to flatten out again.
You have to tell me these things sooner, Liz. I wish I would have known. That's such a pro tip. Okay, so you heard that from Liz. Use your hair dryer on the low setting, and it will help kind of smooth out these wrinkles. Do not press it. It will be a disaster. It is, after all, vinyl. It will melt. So what we're going to do then is we're going to trim this piece to 11 by, what did I say? 15. 11 by 15 is what we need to create this bottom portion here. And I did not have my blow dryer in my sewing studio when I was working on this. So I just really took the time and you know, laid it out and made sure I had enough wiggle room to go back and trim. And then I just, you know, used my ruler just like normal on the line. But I just like really used my hands to iron it out in the process. So you can see there, I've got it all lined up. I have just a little bit of overlap on this side, but I want to have more than enough so I can go back and trim if I need to. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut here. And slide. Oh boy. It is kind of hard to see the vinyl as well. So this is where you're really going to want to take your time. There we go. So that's my 11-inch cut. And now we're going to turn and we're going to cut it down to 15 this direction. Let me actually count so I don't make a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Perfect.
We've got a couple other tips for the vinyl. Daisy Garden says, for the vinyl, I press the iron on the ironing board, then I smooth the vinyl over the ironing board while it's still warm. That works great for me.
That's awesome.
We also have somebody who says warm water can do the trick too, to kind of soften
you guys
it
are
without
so smart.
melting
See,
it.
I just struggled through, you know, because sometimes that's just what you do.
Gotta make do.
You gotta make do, but it really wasn't that tricky, as you can see. We got it cut, it's ready to go here. So now we get to use this awesome zipper. So you can see here on my project, I used the white zipper, and I have this right here, and it is longer than we need. And so I started by using our 4 by 15-inch top piece, and I just am going to sandwich this in here, like so.
I just think that's the coolest because you don't have to do any work to install the zipper.
It's amazing. You don't need a zipper foot. You don't need anything, and it's going to look so great when we're done. It's just going to lay so nicely. And so I am going to grab a few pins just to hold my layers together on this side. Just make sure that that is snug up next to my zipper. And that all the layers are where I want them. Ta-da! And one more here for good measure. And then now we're just going to take this to the machine, and I'm going to top stitch right on this edge so it'll have a really nice finished look.
And so while you're top stitching, it's called the June Taylor's Zippity Doo Done, because once you put it on, it's zippity doo done. So there are 6 colors available, and you can get any of those colors. We love the white on this Sunflower Stars grunge. I think I got that right, Sunflower Stars. And we're just a big fan.
Yes, I love it. All right. Here we go, and I'm just taking my pins out as I go. You don't want to run over those. There we go. Oops, there we go. All right, so you can see how simple that was. And when you flip it over, you can see that it encloses, you know, any raw edges on the back, nice and tidy on the front. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the vinyl on this other side. Oh, actually, I'm going to trim this first. Hold on. Sorry. I like to wait to trim it after I've attached it to the top, just because it gives me a better reference point in case for some reason I measured just slightly off when I was trimming this. I can make sure that I'm cutting it exactly to the same size. So we're just going to lay our ruler across here, trim this off. There we go, and just make sure your zipper is in the middle, not hanging off an end. I do like that when you get it in the package, you've got a good amount here So you don't have to worry too much about cutting off the zipper head. But I like to make sure that my excess is on the opposite end, so I'm nowhere near that. So we've got that cut off, and now we're gonna attach our vinyl. So we're gonna slide that in the exact same way that we did with our fabric. Now, usually when you're working with vinyl, you don't wanna use pins because it's gonna leave a hole. But because this is enclosed in the zipper here, I find it much easier to use pins instead of just two little clips on the end. So we are gonna go ahead and pin because you're not gonna see these holes. And so I'm gonna put some pins through my vinyl. Again, just feeling with my fingers, making sure I've got all 3 layers there. And I do.
And when you get that pin, can you tell us a little more about from the package, maybe what kind of vinyl that is?
Absolutely. So this is, once I get this pin through, sorry. Oop, it's not wanting to poke through the top. Just a second. There we go. Got it. Okay, so this is, it says premium clear vinyl 12 gauge, and it is 16 inches by 1.5 yards in this package here. And so you would have enough to make quite a few of these little bags.
And these do make great gifts for your quilting
friends. They do, exactly, exactly. And so you can see I've got this pinned in place, and now I'm just gonna take this to the machine and do just like I did on the other side and top stitch down. Because you are sewing through that vinyl, your machine, you know, you're gonna hear a little click that is different than normal. Don't panic, just take your time.
So the advice is go slow. You don't necessarily have to change your needle for this.
Exactly, but after you're done, you might want to change your needle before you start another project.
Right.
Just because it is, you know, sewing through the vinyl is definitely a little bit harder on that needle.
It's a little trickier
Than regular cotton fabric.
And also a shout out, Ruth Eglinton, I think. Ruth says you could utilize the decorative stitches on this.
Absolutely. I was gonna point that out when I finish this. You absolutely could use all the fun decorative stitches on your machine, which we don't always get to use, and it would be such a great finish.
And how exciting to be able to use that on a zipper too, because I know zippers are not so hard you can't do them, but this makes it so easy.
Oh my gosh.
And you can make it so pretty.
It's such a breeze. Shout out to June Taylor. It's just such a wonderful idea. And it makes zippers way less intimidating, especially for beginner sewers. And I did back stitch at the start and finish there, even though we're gonna enclose it. I just don't wanna risk anything popping out. So now we have our front assembled. We have our back all ready to go from before. And so this is when you can see here, because we've attached the zipper, we have a little bit of excess hanging off here. That's the way I like my projects. I would much rather have more room that I can go back and trim than not enough. And so you will see when I'm designing projects, that happens a lot. And I know I'm gonna make mistakes. And so this is my way of always having a solution for those little wonky things that come along. And so hopefully that doesn't bother you. For me, that's just how I like to do things. So now I'm gonna go back here and use my back as a guide. Again, let's make sure we've got this lined up because I almost made an oops. Let's go ahead and put some clips in so our top is all lined up.
And we're using clips now because of the layers and because the vinyl on this part.
Exactly.
You want to make sure you're not pinning through the vinyl anymore.
Exactly. Thank you, Liz, for pointing that out.
Quick shout out to Marianne Cohen says, a friend gave me one of these pouches for Christmas with a pattern and a fat quarter in it. And that sounds like the loveliest gift.
That's the best gift.
Such a great idea. Thanks for sharing that, Marianne.
Yes, thank you. A pattern and a fat quarter. I love it. Okay, and so now that I've got this or clipped together, mind you, I'm just gonna trim off my excess down here. Just like so. Just shave off that little bit of vinyl. And then now I can go back and put my clips along the bottom. And then to finish this, we simply bind the edge. So just like you would any quilt project, it takes two 2.5-inch strips. and I've got that already pressed and ready in my binding. So then now that I've got this pinned together, I would just go back and, you know, open up my clip, lay my binding on here, and work my way all the way around.
And it's probably easiest to start on the top there because then you don't have the extra zipper or vinyl for your start and stop.
Exactly, exactly. I would recommend starting here. Just, you know, when you start sewing, you do want to give yourself plenty of room so that you can go back and attach your ends together. So I wouldn't start stitching until I was, you know, probably out here, and I would leave the excess, work my way all the way around, and then you turn it around, and you can either, I do most of my binding by hand, which is why I attach it from the top here as well. If you want to bind by machine, which you absolutely could, you might go ahead and attach it on the back and pull it around. So either way works. And then you've got this amazing little zippity-doo done project bag. Ours measures 15 inches square, but these zippers are actually 18 inches long. So you could make these up to 18 inches square. And I thought I would show you a couple of the other projects that our friends from June Taylor sent over using these zippers. So they sent a couple extra project bags. So you can see this one, they added the cork detail and a little tassel on the pole, which I think is so cute. And then this one here actually doesn't have vinyl. It just has an additional quilted section on the bottom, which is adorable. Then I dropped one over here. This is just a little storage bag that they've boxed the corners. But again, this uses the same zippity-doo-done zipper, so you don't have to fight with installing it, which is so neat. And then this one kind of blew my mind, and we might bring this back again, but this is this great little throw pillow, and they put the zipper in so you can take it off and wash it. Brilliant. It's so great. So Brilliant. Thank you guys, everyone at June Taylor, for sending this over. I really appreciate the inspiration, and I loved getting to make this, and I hope you guys will enjoy making these for yourselves and your quilty friends. So if we have any other questions or anything coming through.
So we did want to see, can you use a regular zipper? Of course you can.
Absolutely. But why would you when these are so easy?
And you can use pre-quilted fabric if you want to
absolutely
take a step out. But it's also a fun way to try and practice your quilting
your straight line
at home.
quilting. Exactly. This is such a manageable project on any machine. You know, when you're working on this scale, it's just a great way to be brave and try something new.
And I promise your friend is not going to give it back because one line was a little squeaky.
No, they're not really your friend if they do. It's just not right. Just not right. So
the other question is, do we have pattern for this? So we want you to follow along with this. The great thing is you can make this any size.
Exactly.
So we made this 15 inches. You could make this as big as you want to,
yep.
and up to the 18 inches if you're using this zippity-doo-dah zipper. But if you want to make a little 12-inch one, or you make a little 5-inch one because you work in minis, you go for it.
You can do whatever your heart desires. And that's what we try and do with these videos, is to just inspire you to think outside the box and, you know, come up with your new ideas. I love seeing the projects that you guys share after you watch. You come up with so many great ideas, and I've seen quite a few of the string stars we made last week floating around, and they look so beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing those, and please keep sharing.
And then, so just one more thing, we're going to wrap up and say what we used for this project. So just as a quick recap, we used this beautiful sunflower. Is it Grunge Stars? Is that what it is? Yep.
Grunge Stars, which is lovely.
And you needed about a yard of that.
Yep, just under a yard. So go ahead and pick up a yard. You'll have plenty to do your whole project. And then you will need some batting, a scrap of batting, 16 inches square. Well, a little bit bigger than that because you need the front. So it's actually, you'll need a, hold on, math, 21 by 16 inch piece to be able to get your back and your front all quilted. Then you'll need that zippity-doo-done zipper from June Taylor. We also use this great Quilter Select Free Fuse fusible powder to make our quilt sandwich, which I highly recommend trying if you've never used. I am sold. This stuff is awesome. You'll need some clear vinyl if you want to make that vinyl pocket like we did, and this comes in a roll from us here at Missouri Star. And you might also want to pick up some of these awesome Wonder Clips if you are working with the vinyl. So that's it, super easy. We hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did, and now I'm gonna go make a couple more for those quilty friends. I'm gonna put a pattern and a fat quarter in it. That's the best idea.
Great idea. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week. And actually, that reminds me, Courtney, our dear friend, will be here next week. I'm taking a couple days off to go camping with the family, and so Courtney will be here to teach you an awesome, trick. So be sure to tune in for that, and I will see you when I get back. Have a great one.